This week on Media Delta, Rollergames. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Media Delta. We are talking about something that, one of the things that I kind of started, one of the things that I'm really like to cover in Media Delta is not so much like the stuff that a lot of people know of, your RoboCops, your Mega Man cartoon, your Legend of Zelda, the things that a lot of people know of. I think I like looking at obscure things, stuff like, say, the Salamander OVA or the Wizardry OVA, those kind of things that aren't super well known. And then you go watch something like this, and then you kind of realize why it wasn't exactly well known. Because today we are talking about a TV show that barely lasted one season, that being Rollergames.
It was a single core, one core.
Core. So to kind of sum up what Rollergames is, it is a kind of a televised version of roller derby, with very, the thing with roller derby, that one of its more well-known things is that it's very elaborate teams. Although I feel like these teams were not even, they were pretty out there, but they weren't. I've seen some good roller derby teams, and these were kind of bland. But anyway, but it's also it has an element of pro wrestling, or I would kind of say American Gladiators, but not quite.
American Gladiators didn't seem scripted. This.
So this is, we'll get into that. But yeah, you can also tell exactly when this show was made. This has late 80s, early 90s written all over it. It's just, you can really tell when this was made. So yeah, I was not the only one who watched this, so please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm here for some rock and roller games.
I'm Coolio, if you don't know, asking the weekly question, what now?
I'm Risen, but you can call me Lizard, and my pet lizard, which is named Fido.
I'm Torpid Typus, and I came here for the obviously faked railing hits.
Yeah.
Also, the swift kicks.
The kick.
There were some good kicks.
There were some really good kicks.
Okay, but what about launching yourself entirely at the other team and fucking it up completely?
Really
just
good.
Eating all the shit on the rail.
That was the one thing that I remember that I really enjoyed about this was just watching. I'd imagine that trying to do that thing is really hard, but also when you're on roller skates, when you eat shit like that, it's extra funny.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how well you train yourself to take a hit or a fall. That one hurt.
Yeah.
That was preceded in a previous episode where another person jumped right into a group of people, knocking them all down, skates and all.
Yeah, that was. Yep. And also, if you like people flipping over railings, this is probably the show for you.
This is a show for you.
Plenty of railing kills in this show.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was thinking of. I was just thinking of Space Mutiny the entire time.
Space Mutiny.
Yeah. If you want to see what kind of idiot corporations actually paid to have, sponsorships and everything, this show is also really good because, the two big ones I know is for Pepsi graphics. Loves the turbo graphics.
Well, also there was Midway in the back, which I believe, because I'm pretty sure there is actually a really famous pinball table for this, which actually I think more people know about the pinball table. It's actually kind of funny on TV Tropes. There is a TV Tropes page for the pinball table, not the show, which tells you exactly all you need to know about the show.
What platforms were the video games you looked at on?
So there was also, there was two video games. There was one for the NES. Both of these games are made by Konami. One for the NES and one for the arcade. The NES game is a weird brawler that isn't good, at all. There's actually the arcade one, which actually tries to take the format of the show and tries to, like do something with it. It's actually really fun. It's much better than the actual show.
Wasn't
which
that
is
the
kinda
one
surprising.
where you did like suplexes and
Yes.
windmills? Yeah, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, because also it's really weird because it looks like the way that they did the tech. It's like you're on one of those, like, the little toys that you have to wind up, and it's like you're
Mhm.
driving the car, but you can tell that it's just looping over and over again. That's how that game feels, and it's kind of stupid, but also fun.
Amazing.
It's a very early brawler that's actually pretty good.
But what
But
you're telling me is the people at TurboGrafx got a sponsorship deal and did not bother to get a video game.
no, there was no there was no game for the TurboGrafx, unfortunately.
No
Or
wonder the
fortunately.
TurboGrafx lost the console wars.
Yeah, I'm sure that was exactly it.
The killer game.
Yeah.
So I think kind of before we kind of go on, I think we should kind of just set. I'm pretty sure most of us kind of have already said stuff about it, but I think we should probably just go and lay down what we thought of the show. So, Axe, what did you think of this show?
I actually liked it. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I kind of liked it. I liked it for its kitschiness, just the pure '80s style of it. Everybody there is like having the time of their life. Like this is the thing they wanted to do the most, and they're doing it, and it shows through in all. Like the performances are fucking terrible. The performances are so
Oh my
bad.
god, they suck so bad.
They are like you can tell them just breaking down as they're doing this. They can't hold themselves. They're corpsing basically.
Yeah,
Like
Mhm.
they're 100% corpsing through their performances, especially that idiot guy in the middle segments that does his little rant thing. Like he's
so
he's
Mr.
totally not into it.
Conservative.
so there's actually a story behind him, which is actually not that great. But
The story is they needed some material for padding the show.
so Wally George is actually a really weird figure because in the grand scheme of like television, it is him that is probably responsible for why conservative talk radio exists and why Fox News exists, because he pioneered that format.
Yep.
I'm not
Because he
surprised.
had a show at the same time called Hot Seat, which was, I think you can actually watch episodes of it on YouTube, but it's weird because it's also like where Jerry Springer and like Martin Downey Jr. got their starts, if I remember correctly. Also, for some reason, when I was looking it up, The Offspring was on that. Like they got their television debut on that show. I don't know why The Offspring would, but whatever.
That's bizarre.
I don't know how that makes me feel about them because they have like
Yeah.
they have like 3 good songs and then the rest is kind of noise.
They were very much of a time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like those the middle segments, I like them so much because it's just unhinged. It's just absolutely pure lunacy. There's just nothing. It has no correlation to anything that's going on around it. It's just this little bubble of insanity in the midst of all the rest of this goofiness.
I still
Yeah.
don't understand it because it's so fucking out of place.
Yeah, like it doesn't belong there. He's not talking about roller derby. He's not talking
Yeah,
about
like
or fucking
the one
the
episode we gone. Like the one episode we watched, like, yeah, he like briefly interviewed with Miss Georgia Haas and Guru Drew and somebody else, but it's like it still felt really disconnected. Like he's interviewing this like important figure in the sport as a whole and one of the team, managers, and it still felt like a commercial break for a conservative talk radio show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but-
then he starts yelling about the concessions that they're selling.
Yeah.
The fuck is
Mhm.
this?
Just the entirety of his rants just seem to kind of spiral out of control until he's like a Wikipedia fatigued himself into like
Yeah.
into topics. So like you could have done without those segments and the show would have been a lot better, but they were still entertaining just to watch how like unhinged he gets. Then you get I think near the end this dude with the worst haircut I have ever seen. Just like it's definitely balding, but the rest of the hair is pulled back into a really slick ponytail, wearing fucking leopard print outfit, singing rock, rock, rock and roll game.
Okay,
Uh,
that was a lot more fun and also relevant than any of the conservative talk.
because it's the musical, it's the halftime show. It was the actual halftime show in the same way that the football has, some
yeah, but it was like energetic and fun, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I actually like it. I just think it's funny. I just think the whole idea is funny. It's this really ratty looking dude just going out into the crowd and singing the theme song, and everybody's singing along with it. Like everybody in this arena is singing along to this song. They're like such diehard fans of this. Apparently, it's just
Mhm.
it's just so fucking weird to me.
I mean, I still loved how uncharismatic both of the fucking announcers were. It was awful. They were terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like one of them was like this just fucking middle-aged looking white dude who just was kind of boring and bland and just stated things as they were. And then they had the color commentator who looked like some off-brand kind of pudgy Kenny Loggins. And
With a
he
horrible beard.
it was so bad. Oh my god, he looked so gross. Oh my god. But it's like he tried his best to sell it, but he did not have the chops. And he kept trying to push the stupid drama, like the twins being torn apart or the old man being ripped off the field. But goddamn, he tried his little heart out and it just couldn't stick.
Yeah, that's where the show I think fails the most is the drama. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned it in Discord. This is basically World Wrestling Federation / entertainment on
Yep.
wheels. It's 100% wrestling on wheels. Now, I used to like wrestling back when I was a kid during the Attitude Era, which, if you don't know, was a very fine era for pro wrestling. This, I'd say, is kind of like after that, where things sort of kept a little hint of edginess, but it wasn't quite the same. They try to have they have some kind of edginess to this thing, especially with the announcers trying to like you said hype up these fake controversies that are going on. Like the first episode you start us in on, apparently that the twins are going to be split up into two different teams, so they're no longer racing with each other. And then there's an old guy on the same team
Who is their dad?
Who is their dad? Yeah.
Okay, so he's just dead. I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that actually.
Yeah, he's their dad.
I didn't.
That random old man who was just on that team for no good reason was
Yeah.
their dad. Yeah.
And the drama behind him is that he's going to be kicked out of roller derby because he's going to get into the Hall of Fame, which doesn't make any fucking sense on its head. But like the show really tries to play up that controversy by having the one lady who runs the one team.
I own you.
Oh, that was
go on.
that was someone
Yeah.
else.
And then the second controversy is one of the twins got sent to the Maniacs, and the manager was like being really handsy and creepy with
Yeah,
her.
hold on. Hold on. I think we need. Yep.
What?
No, you were saying something about the manager?
Oh, okay. No, I stopped because I heard somebody say something. I wasn't sure what they said.
Yeah, but go on.
Yeah, and then to play up the drama, air quotes, the female manager from one of the other teams, I think it was the Maniacs, who was the one behind trying to get him ousted. They kept doing interviews with her where she would talk about how important it is to oust this guy because of the Hall of Fame thing, and it's all rings so very hollow. Like the back arena segments in wrestling where everybody's just lying. They're just lying to you. They don't actually believe what they're doing. They're not actually, doing what they're doing. It's all just so hollow and fake.
So, just to remind me, the woman that was talking, was that the older looking lady with like the kind of short, like the poofy hair that trying to think, was it Georgia Haas? I think.
wish I could remember what she looked like. I vaguely remember.
I think it was Miss Georgia Haas.
So the thing with her, and this is something that the show does not really explain at all, because I don't think it even goes into it at all. So Georgia Haas was actually a roller derby, like, I won't say legend, but she was really big into the Los Angeles roller derby scene, because Rollergames, one word, the show that we watched, is actually spun out of a different thing called the Roller Games League, two words, that occurred during the 60s and 70s, which I imagine where that old man probably got to start. I'm not 100% certain. But also the thing is that the T-Birds, which were the team that we saw on that one of the teams that we saw in that first episode, is actually from the Los Angeles Thunderbirds, which was an actual team in the league. So there is background to this that is not explained at all. Which I feel like the kind of that controversy definitely, like, trying to dramatize like a lot of this. Like, if it was just teams going against each other, I feel like that would be just more interesting than what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, like if you chop like, what is it, like 15 minutes off the runtime or so, make it a 30-minute, block on TV versus an hour, and
Yeah, I feel like this would have been a much better 30-minute show than an hour-long show.
I would argue part of the issue with it too is it seems like a lot of nonsense because it is nigh impossible to keep track of the scoring.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything lacks context.
In that, I feel is you were talking about the announcers, and I feel like they were just doing a not great job. Like, they explained the wall of death and what that was about in that little jump, but they didn't really do. They should have done, I feel, a bit more in explaining how roller derby actually works.
Okay, but it's also important to note that they explain the wall of death in episode like 6 or 7.
Well, they also start to explain it like at least once per episode, sometimes twice, oddly enough.
They didn't do it in 4.
I'm pretty sure they did it in either 3 or 4. They did.
It's weird because they do it like, it's not at the beginning; it's like in the middle that they explain it.
Yeah, it's usually like it's usually when one of the skaters are close enough to actually get the 6 points, and then they do the whole like slow down clip showing the zones and the point values and all that.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
But my issue really is, once again, though, is that there's so much going on and there's so many ways to get points and so many people doing different things that it is impossible to keep track of who is in the lead or what's going on, and it's honestly a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, like I thought I was keeping a good track of how many points they're getting, and then they cut to the point values, and now they're at 70 when I thought they only had like 30. So I was just like, well, I guess I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, because to just kind of explain what, I don't even know. I'm not certain. Like, I know it's kind of like the rules of roller derby. I'm pretty sure it's a lot more basic than the roller games. I know the wall of death. I'm pretty sure the wall of death stuff, that like there isn't a part where you're like going up against a wall and doing a jump thing. But how roller derby works, or at least what it seems like, or how this game works, I should say, if you're going to watch this yourself and don't know what's going on. So basically, the teams rotate. Basically, they go kind of in a clock, or not like one person of each team. A round is essentially one person of each team is designated a jetter. And that is signified by them being the only one that gets a helmet
until they lose
the helmet.
Yeah. Like one time, one of them lost their helmet, and they kept racing through. And the rules are you have to have your helmet on in order to score points. But apparently, she didn't get the memo, so she went the entire thing, and then at the end realized, oh shit, I don't get any points for my team.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to either, according to the rules of roller games, you have to either be wearing the helmet or lose it unintentionally. If you're just not wearing it, or if you take it off willfully, then you're not scoring any points.
Yeah. Which
It
and
is
then basically
happening.
and then when you should get a point every time you pass someone from the other team. And that's basically what it is. But they lose their helmets so often that it's really hard to see who the hell the jetter is.
I don't know how they lose their helmets. Like you strap the thing on, it's on
And
your
they-
head.
they
That's
don't-
what they're not doing.
Yeah, they don't strap it on. Which that's actually something that I was actually really surprised about, is that not everyone's wearing a helmet. You'd figure that would be like, in order to get on TV, that would be the
Is the
bare
80s, it's
minimum.
fine.
This
It's
is
Yeah.
true.
Lawn darts were still a thing at this time.
Yeah.
If only there was a lawn darts TV show.
I would totally watch professional lawn darts.
Yeah,
The
I'd
pro
love seeing
wrestling
people
of rock
fucking
darts.
stick darts in one another. It'd be great. I will. Okay, so I do want to go back
Yeah.
to talking about the drama a little more, because it is so
Mhm.
awful and contrived too. Because
And
on top of
obvious.
yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. Because like then there was, on top of the team split, like the twin split. One of them had it all right, but the other was constantly being abused by various men saying they own her over and
Yep.
over as she got switched between teams, and it was fucking ridiculous.
Also,
Then randomly, at the end of what was the second episode we watched, they're like, surprise, her contract has been nullified. She can go and skate with her sister again. It's like, well, that wrapped up really quickly, this drama.
Okay.
Well, that was the entire reason why the manager was being creepy toward her, and they nullified the contract because of sexual harassment.
yeah.
It's also very good because that same episode they brought the dad back onto the field too, because that was supposed to be a big thing. And it was hilarious because like the show is very much scripted, and you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty obvious at some points. It was fucking ridiculously obvious at this point because people were hurling themselves over the railing left and right as he just tore through the goddamn field. It was the most ridiculous thing, seeing this old man barrel through all these people.
Yep.
And it's none of them are really good. I think I'm using the term correctly. None are really good at kayfabe. None of them are good at it. Like
No, they
Yeah.
suck at jobbing super hard.
they can't. None of them sell their lines. It's just so stilted
Oh yeah,
and weird.
that's stiff as shit. But like it's not just that. It's also like even on the field, there are these people, because like roller skating and roller derby are fucking hard to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But then they have to fucking pretend to take all these hits and all these falls, and sometimes they cannot sell. And you obviously see a man hurl himself over the edge bodily before anyone even fucking touches him.
Yep. There were some really good ones in like the second episode where it's like, oh god, they're trying so hard to sell this fight and they are failing so hard.
There is, I kind of wish that I found the episode that it was in. There is a very good clip I found on YouTube of someone shooting themselves over the wall of death. Like they just go way too fast and they just go just right over it. It's really funny.
Is that one worth 12 points?
No, it's you hope that you don't
die.
hurt yourself.
Oh wait, in terms of drama, let's talk about how there's an alligator pit.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
God.
There's just a fucking pit that like, oh, show's too boring, throw in the alligators.
Thing is, that only comes up in the first episode. That's supposed to be used as a tiebreaker, where if there's a tie, then they go around the alligator pit. They have to go either around 5 times or throw the other person in there.
But also, like, this show, like, what they're doing is there's so many fucking points in play. So many points. Shitloads and shitloads of points. That it is so fucking hard to tie to begin with.
Yeah,
What?
it's
There's
Like-
so many points that are hard to connect, and you have to keep track of all of the stupid nicknames like Lizard and Deathly Debbie and Go-Go Gonzalez and everything, you know?
Gonzalez.
What was it? Irish Mary or something like that?
Yeah.
something like that.
Gogo Gonzalez is fighting Irish Mary.
Who they refer to as Speedy Gonzalez because, of course, it is the 90s.
Yes.
Actually,
Bitch.
no. Gogo Gonzalez and Speedy Gonzalez are two people on the same team.
Great.
What?
Yeah.
One is part of the women. Gina Gonzalez is Gogo, and Adam Gonzalez is Speedy.
Amazing.
Also, the fucking one of the managers for, oh god, which one was it? The fucking
Guru
Hot Flash
Drew, the Beast of the East, who guides his team with astrology.
No. I'm talking about the dude who led. I think it was like the Hot Flash or something like that.
The big fat dude?
The big fat
Oh,
dude
yeah.
who's just
Yes.
fucking partying on the field.
Yeah.
constantly.
I liked him.
He
He
was
was fun.
great.
Hey,
He
you
didn't do much, but he's great.
remember back in the 90s when being compared to Donald Trump wasn't the worst kind of insult?
Oh god. Oh
God.
yeah. That's the other thing too, is like the fucking reactionary dude had the worst toupee I've ever seen. It was
Yeah.
fucking disgusting to look
It
at.
was amazingly bad.
Ugh. It's such a weird show that's constantly at odds with itself. Which isn't to say it isn't fun, because the actual like roller derby bit is pretty enjoyable, and it is funny just seeing people hurl themselves over the railing constantly.
Mhm.
But it's like tonally, it cannot fucking come to terms with itself half the time.
It's kind of the amusement that you get from watching something where you look at it and say, this can't be real. Like this can't, like, people didn't actually do this. This is just like an extended bit from like RoboCop or something, one of the commercials or whatever. And then no, it's something that actually happened.
Yeah. Also, I'm looking at a picture of Wally George right now, and the lighting does not that is a non-Euclidean hair piece. I don't think light's supposed to reflect like that.
But in spite of itself, though, I find a bit of a charm to roller games. Like, it kind of made me think back to when we watched Nickelodeon Guts, and how Mike O'Malley was just like all pepped up for the whole thing. Even when it wasn't that exciting, he was pepped and ready to go. And that's roller games in a nutshell. Roller games, everybody is just hype as fuck for all the bullshit that's about to go down. Even though they know it's scripted, they're hyped for it. And I got kind of hyped for it too, because it's like, yeah, you know what? Shit's happening. People are moving. People getting knocked over. It's exciting. It's fake, but it's exciting. And it reminded me of the days when I used to watch wrestling and actually enjoy it.
Yeah,
The
it
whole-
does. Yeah, it does have that. It does have that. I can definitely see that aspect to it.
Like,
holy hell, is the writing bad?
Yes.
So bad. Like, if it was just the roller derby and like the hype bits, like the halftime show, and like, it would actually be more fun. But
Yeah.
there's all these little bits that just aren't great, and the drama's really, really dumb and contrived. But like the actual roller derby, even if it's hard to keep track of, is pretty enjoyable.
a lot of the problem could just be solved if you had like the thing that's, at the bottom of a football game or a soccer game, keeping, abreast of the time and the score and everything, instead of having to hope that like the two announcers remember to actually announce the game and don't, start complaining about Miss Georgia Haas or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is it's a show that just hates explaining itself.
Actually, do you have any other points?
The announcers were boring.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that kind of rounds out what I'm thinking.
All right, Coolio, what did you think of this?
Oh boy, what the fuck did I just watch?
You watched the 80s.
I watched the 80s going into the 90s.
You watched you know what, actually, now that I think about it, this seems like something that now I'm just picturing in my head a plot line of Saved by the Bell in which Zach tries to get one of the girls to apply for roller games.
The alternate cursed reality where roller games kept going.
This is the kind of show that I would expect to be kind of a side mention in friggin' the Running Man movie.
Yeah.
Like, look,
That same sort of aesthetic, that same sort of energy, that same sort of just like off the wall. What the fuck is going
welcome to the Bush senior years.
Yep.
Yeah.
on?
It's very much something like as you said, Running Man. Like they have like a TV commercial. It's like tonight on ABC at 8, Rollergames, and at 9, Running Man.
But yeah, it's just that weird, weird kind of show. This is, but at the same time, I kind of get what Axe was saying. That just the kind of the kind of energy that it at least tries to put out, and it does make it at least worth glancing at in the same way that you would look at a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of thing where it's like I feel like it's kind of a taste thing. Like I can definitely see why someone would like. I can definitely see why someone would want to sit down and watch like a lot of this. But me personally, I think because I was kind of thinking about this, like, okay, at what point watching this am I going to hit the point where it's like, I think I've seen enough. That was halfway through the first episode. Because I feel like, okay, I can see where this is going, and just judging by the writing, this is going to, I can kind of see what the kind of, it's kind of like when you watch like a kid's show and you kind of see it do some of the more basic episode types, and it's like, okay, I can kind of see what the kind of, you're gonna have like a twin episode, you're gonna have like the various kind of tropes kind of thing, and you can kind of see that that's what it's going to go for pretty quickly. But it's just kind of sticking around and seeing where it's going to go. How they are going to do it is also kind of the thing. And yeah.
Yeah. And like the stories may not have been good by any means, but it was kind of sort of interesting to kind of try to follow where they're going. Definitely helps to look at the Wikipedia article that shows why they wanted to split up the Van Gelder twins in the first place. Apparently, they, like, according to kayfabe, they were drafted as one person. Like they were drafted as Van Gelder twins, and so that's why the three teams that wanted them split up because that happened. But it definitely kind of seemed to set up like the T-Birds are like the only face in the entire league, and then everyone else is just bastards. At least
a lot of heels.
Yeah, at least as far as I've seen. I mean, in fact, it's in the NES game. Don't you play as the T-Birds?
So you have a choice between the T-Birds, the Hot Flash, and the Rockers, I think. And I believe, because it's essentially the Mario thing of one's the balanced, one's the speedy, one's the more like strong ones. I believe the Hot Flash are the speedy ones. I believe the T-Birds are I believe the T-Birds are the balanced ones, and I forgot who the last one is. I know Bad Attitude is one of the enemy ones because I remember seeing an NES version of Georgia Haas.
Good.
But yeah.
Is there anything else that I want to say? I don't think there is. Not right now, anyway.
All right. Well, Risen, what did you think about it?
There is value in watching failed art. Like, I don't like, it's interesting to kind of try to piece together, what went wrong, what they were trying to do, and everything. And you can see, like, theoretically, there are enough, let's say, ingredients to make a satisfying TV show out of this. I mean, obviously, professional wrestling is one of the most beloved sports in the world, But I think that, yeah, as we've talked about, like the performers, let's call them, just did not have the acting chops to really sell the drama, the action, the lore, I guess. Let's call it that. The lore, you know. I think that there could have been a roller games that would have been as famous as like the WWF or WWE, whatever you want to call it.
This is before the lawsuit.
Yep.
Yeah.
The World Wildlife Fund did not get after them yet.
I don't think that as a society we are, better or worse with the loss of roller games.
One thing that I didn't think to point out at the time is that this didn't fail because it wasn't popular. Because the looking at the Wikipedia article, the debut got a 9.3 Nielsen rating, and on average, it got a 4.7 national rating as compared to, say, American Gladiators got 2.5. So it was actually pretty popular. It failed because Kintex went bankrupt.
Oh, that'll do it.
Okay.
So this totally could have gone on for a few more years. They just ran out of money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Be interested to see how it would have changed from its very 80s-ness to peeling
90s. Yeah.
90s grunge, gaming in the Clinton years kind of mode. I guess more flannel.
I do want to say, even if it's a mess in kind of hellish 80s nightmare, I'm glad it existed, if nothing else, because it is fascinating to see.
It was a fun way to spend a Wednesday night eating soup and now a podcast.
All right, so that you good?
Yeah.
All right, Torpo.
I've kind of mostly said what I thought on it. Like, I thought it was neat. It had some issues. I do think cutting the runtime would have done a wonder, because like the bits were not interesting or funny, and I could have just done without them. But like the actual roller derby was pretty enjoyable to watch, and it was fun seeing everything go at it. I enjoyed the goofiness of all of the fighting and all that. Like, it was scripted as shit. That said, it was fucking impressive as hell when that one woman swung her leg around while fucking doing roller skating to kick someone in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
That was sick as hell. Holy shit, that is some finesse.
Mm-hmm. I guess on the idea of like the funniness and everything, I do wonder if like at the time, in the context of the H.W. Bush years, if it would have been more funny.
I mean, this is right, like when, this is right when, like we've mentioned, WWF really started to get a foothold during the late 80s. American Gladiators, I believe, would have been on at this time. And if we mentioned that, yeah, it was getting, it was on. So this was like, this would have been right. This would not been as goofy as it was. I mean, it's still goofy, but it would have
fit in.
Yeah, this just seems like, and especially if you think about like early, like as I mentioned, if you think about Saved by the Bell, this is almost like that kind of caliber in a sense.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, that's just how 90s TV kind of was. Like, this was the time when Alf was a thing. I think.
I kind of want to like now do some research and see if I can find some like reviews or whatnot from.
Okay, Alf would have just been ending, but still.
Alf died so that roller games could be born.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. When did God? I think I might have to do a Media Delta charity thing like we're doing for Secret and Nim. There's a featurette that I kind of want to rewatch at some point. Yeah, 1990. Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue.
Yes,
Oh
it's my fucking favorite.
the anti-drug cartoon thing in which you get to hear Simon from the
Chipmunks.
the Alvin and
Chipmunk.
Chipmunks say the word marijuana really funny.
God, that whole thing was so great. We had it on VHS, and I'd always watch it.
Yeah, the special that starts out with an introduction from H.W. Bush, Barbara Bush,
Read my lips.
and their dog Billy, according
Yeah.
to this link. Oh, I remember renting that way too many times.
I say
Anyway.
forget about making it a milestone. Just put it in the rotation. Let's just watch it. Let's just do it.
God. Alf's in there. There's an Alf Master System game.
No.
Yes!
I refuse. I fucking
yes.
refuse.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I will veto the shit out of Alf.
Yes.
There's also an Elf game for DOS.
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh.
there are many ways we could attack Elf, but anyway.
Such as with a bat.
Regardless of that, I do feel like it's very much of the time.
Yes.
It's dripping with 80s/90s. I mean, from the hairstyles down to the clothing, it's entirely of that era. It's just
Mhm.
wholly, unabashedly, unashamedly 80s night. It's a little more 80s. It's a little more 80s than 90s.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so to clarify really quick, this show lasted all of one core, which is typically like a season, typically like 3 to 4 months in this
Mhm.
case. And it went from September 1989 into very early 1990 before getting, shut down. I need to clarify that for everyone here as we're talking about
Mhm.
80s and 90s.
Yeah, it is the very edge of
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's kind of 80s aesthetic for clothes and hair and that stuff, and then 90s aesthetic for on-screen graphics.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
Those
think
graphics.
the writing was very 90s.
Yes. The writing, it was very much of the kind of ilk that you would see, like as Axe, you mentioned, the WWF at the time.
Yeah.
Very much of that ilk.
The very transitionary generational thing.
Like it comes across as WWF as it was getting its legs, kind of right.
Mhm.
Before they solidify themselves with really strong timelines, which I argue started in the Attitude Era, which was the 90s, when you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock,
Mhm.
and you had all of these you had a lot of big names like Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels, fucking Razor Ramon, Mr. Perfect. I'm remembering just a bunch of them now. Ric Flair. Like
Macho.
they had big names, but none of them really stuck out enough. Like Macho Man, I could say did, but like when you got into like the anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Big
I'm gonna,
history lesson.
Yes.
I really like that era of wrestling. It's like the only era of that I like. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. Anyway, my point being is that this feels like WWF before it got to that point and solidified itself as like an entertainment sport.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, it really leads you to imagine if they had not gone bankrupt, like what would have happened.
Oh, is that why they
Yeah.
shut down?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Kintex went bankrupt. They were the distributors.
Somebody make
Yep.
one of those memes where it's like society if, and it's like this super futuristic, just society if roller games didn't go bankrupt.
Which weirdly enough, because we were talking about that sort of Fox News type of conservative radio program, whatever. The rights, the distribution rights to roller games are owned by Fox Sports.
Yeah, it's by Fox as an entity is a little weird. But
Yeah.
that's the entire reason why we're able to watch this, because there's a lot of it available on YouTube, because it is the rights holders got a hold of it and we're like, okay, we're just going to upload it to YouTube and we're going to put it on Fox Sports. And one thing I will actually say that's actually really nice about this is that if you watch it now on either TV or on YouTube, they actually did put some effort into re-putting this up. They actually made it, they cleaned up the footage so it actually runs at a smooth 60 apparently in some of the ones. Also, it's widescreen.
Yeah,
So-
it actually looked surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they must have had like the old, like I would imagine. I wonder if this was what this was shot on, but where they were able to transfer it. It looks really like it doesn't look good, but it in like especially when you're looking at like
It's
stuff like
aged
graphics.
well.
But
It looks better than some of the stuff we've watched. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't look like you're watching it on a VHS tape. Essentially,
Yeah,
Mhm.
it looks better than it probably looked when it broadcast.
Think of it this way, like the way that Star Trek looked in the 60s against the way that it looked in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Except that they put a lot more effort into Star Trek.
yeah.
Yeah. As a quick question, does Disney own Fox Sports now with like the buyout and merger and stuff?
Yeah.
I would. I don't know actually.
Because if they do, I smell a fantastic franchise for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh God.
I feel like Fox Sports was the one thing they didn't get in the merger.
Well, they're
It
okay.
depends. It kind of depends on whether they bought 20th Century Fox or they bought News Corp.
So if I look
Okay,
at
it
Fox
is
Sports,
Walt Disney owns it internationally, but in the U.S. it is owned by the Fox Corporation.
yeah, okay.
Okay, roller games for Kingdom Hearts 4. Here we go.
Oh, geez.
So yes, I was right. It is still technically Fox, but Disney handles international distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember that being the weird thing that they kept in the merger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you have any additional thoughts, Torpo?
No, I largely said my piece before, especially during acts when everyone said their entire piece. But yes, it's enjoyable. It's a fun little time. It is a pure fucking distillation of the late '80s going into the '90s, and it's neat. It's just at odds with itself, and there are certain parts of it that don't need to be there at all and aren't entertaining or funny. The halftime show is pretty hype though.
Mm-hmm.
God, and they even had they had the lyrics for the chorus at the bottom, which was just an extra cherry on top of that entire segment.
But see, no,
You
they
can sing
didn't have all
along.
the lyrics. They only put up the lyrics to rock and roller games. That's it.
I know, that's what makes that segment so really good.
And the dude just sings his heart out like he is so happy to be there and doing this. It's like he's gotten chosen to sing the national anthem at a baseball game. He's just so good at it. It's awesome.
This knockoff Phil Collins looking fucker, yeah, that they have.
His hair was just gross though.
To be fair, Phil Collins kind of looked like that during at least the 80s, because I remember there's an episode in which he is on Miami Vice and he looks like that. Actually, looking at him during that period, that I almost say that dude wore it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Widow's Peak did not look good at all.
Nope.
So I guess before we kind of go on, my piece on this is essentially just kind of I like that it exists. I like it is a fun thing to watch, although I feel like I'm glad that I watched it, although I would say if you're going to go into this, at least from my personal opinion, I'm glad that you can watch it on YouTube, because then you can just kind of go away or like kind of look at something else whenever you can kind of bounce out of it really easily. Because this is it's very Pop-Tarty in my eyes, and that it's like if you feel like you want to watch like eat a Pop-Tart, like you can eat that entire both of them in the package, but a lot of times it's like I don't know if I can eat this entire package.
Give me a package of Pop Tarts, I'll eat both of them, man.
See, I was gonna say, for me, the analogy would be more like it's like a Pop-Tart because it doesn't taste that great, but it'll fill you up at least.
I was gonna say it tastes all right, but gives you a little something to keep you moving.
Exactly.
Like you don't feel it doesn't fill you up quite much, but it's a little boost of energy.
It's not
Yeah.
great, but it'll get you what you need.
Yep.
All right. Well, does anyone have any last thoughts before we move on to ranking?
Nope.
I think it's a pretty decent show, and it's a decent show in spite of itself, in spite of some of the way the things come together.
Yeah, it tried a little too hard, but there's some core elements that are pretty enjoyable.
Like the actual racing and skating stuff was fun to watch, and watching them fling each
Yeah.
other, and
Yeah, it was fun seeing them job on the fucking track. It was great seeing them
Yep.
hurl themselves over the railing so beautifully. But yeah, so I think that's enough said.
yeah, now we're just circling back.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and rank this. So we are going to rank this using our normal 1 to 21 scale, of 1 being absolute mastercraft, 21 being absolute, like, not even ironically fun to watch, with a few extra rankings for particular shows. Axe, what are you thinking, numerically wise?
Numerical wise, I gotta say I got it at a couple spots. It's a decent show with some really bad elements to it that just don't hold up well, and I don't think it's aged all that gracefully either. And the only other places I could put it, I'd probably say, you know what, 7, because that's where we've got American Gladiators.
I was gonna say, but what about Guts? How would you compare it to Guts?
Oh, it was better than I would watch the shit out of this
All
over
right.
Guts.
I know, just trying to establish a range here.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got you down at 7. Okay, Koyo, what were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking that high at all. I'm not gonna be the controversial one again and go like at the bottom of the list, but I am. What I'm going to do actually is propose that this is a fascinating nightmare. It is really not good by any means. It's kind of trash TV, but just its execution as presentation just really elevates it higher than it really should be. So I would say 666 Fascinating Nightmare. If not, then 11 or 12.
All right. Okay, 11 to 12 or 666. Risen.
I'm thinking a solid 9. 9 or 8. Like,
All right.
it has the acting of, like, Flash Gordon, like the camp of Pirates of Dark Water. I think 9 is a solid place, personally.
All right. Torpo.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty like in agreement with Risen. Is like it's enjoyable. It's not super great, but I'd
Mhm.
still say it's better than like Guts. It's
All right.
definitely more watchable. So like, yeah, 8 or 9 would be fine with me. I think 9's a pretty good spot though, because it's like with other junk food, I guess is the way I would describe it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone went higher than I did. So I actually put down 14 or 15 because that's what I was kind of expecting. But I also actually agree with Coolio. I was also thinking 666. Because I also think that this has a weird tonal clash with it, that it's it's fun to watch in a way that it's because if I open up the little thingy
Mhm.
at the rank guide, actually that's more Fever Dream than
So-
it really.
I'm gonna level with you real quick, Lolo. My argument against that is it is a pretty normal sports show, just with some dumb little bits interspersed. But at the end of the day, it's still pretty normal. Is my opinion,
Yeah.
at least.
All right, and I will relent that I do not feel that part. That's just what I had written down before everyone said their thing. But I can definitely, I'd probably boost it up to at least.
But
Yeah,
you mentioned Fever Dream 69, and I kind of agree. That kind of makes sense.
I would also say, like, if we're gonna, like, I feel like Torpo made a good point with it, and that's also why I'd also kind of swat down 69 as well, because
Mhm.
you could make an argument for both 69 or 666.
Hmm.
Even you could have, I guess, also even say 420, but I do feel like it is kind of, it's just goofy because of the time period. It's not goofy like they were trying to make something silly. So I feel
it's
like
weird because of how it's aged more than anything.
Yeah.
So with that spread, I am gonna also revise mine. I will also kind of go, I'll say actually 7 to 9 through that then. I'm trying to think of like what's a good place to start, and I feel let's start at 8 and just kind of work our way there because I feel like that's kind of somewhere in our middle, with especially with our spread. Um, stuff we have at 8: Area 88, Digimon the movie, Lupin the Third, Secret of Mamo, Sweet Home, and the first season of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I like actually, kind of like I'm kind of thinking about this. If you just did a cold watch, like say you never watched either of these properties, if you
Yeah.
sat down and watched this right next to Digimon the movie, I could see you thinking basically the same way. Like I feel like that's another one that's just kind of weird in some spots. Area 88, complete tonal difference, but also has some weird things with it that I feel like could have been you could have cut them out. So I feel like a problem with roller games that I have is that they just have too much stuff in it. And they don't like really get in with what makes it really good. Which I could argue I could actually kind of make an argument for Sweet Home also having that problem.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Sweet Home had a good amount of just kind of empty space, if I remember correctly. So if I'm thinking that, I feel like that's that's like a good pin for right now, somewhere around there. Let's just go up just to kind of see if we can kind of bat it down, or if maybe 7's where it goes. 7 is where we have American Gladiators, Fantasy Kaleidoscope, Mortal Kombat movie, Nick Arcade, The Running Man, and East, the OVA. Especially running. Well, see, we have The Running Man in there. Like that's like tangential
That's
because they're both.
cheating.
That's cheating essentially. But especially American Gladiators. The thing I will say, I will definitely say that I feel like American Gladiators is a better show than Roller Games, because they knew exactly what the core of that show is.
Yeah, they had a lot more solid foundation, and they didn't try to shoehorn in a bunch of kayfabe just out of nowhere.
And whatever acting there was in it was done pretty well. Like everybody kept kayfabe and did it right.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these, and especially also Nick Arcade, if we're kind of doing it on a pseudo game show kind of thing. Nick Arcade also, a lot of these just kind of have solid, they know what they need to do to them. Because Nick Arcade had did not have fluff really. It's just some of it was kind of like, it was standard game show, and if it was more video game themed, I feel like it could have been better. But as a game show, I feel like it's a lot more solid. Where Roller Game just has a lot of just like stuff that's like, okay, what is this even doing here?
There's a lot of behind the scenes kind of stuff, specifically the scoring, the way the scoring is handled. It's not done in a way that seems consistent.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that takes it out of 7 and kind of gives us a ceiling of 8. If we're gonna bat this down, let's see, to 9. We've got stuff like Flash Gordon, Mega Man Season 1, Sonic the Hedgehog OVA, Pirates of Dark Water, Tron, and East 2. Speaking of stuff that has a lot of fluff in it that didn't need to be there, I feel like there's a number of things in here that definitely have that. Looking at Flash Gordon, has a lot of scenes in it that really don't matter and almost is kind of just as campy in a way. But
I think I would still rather watch this than Mega Man, but that's just me.
Yeah, and stuff.
Let's see. I'd rather watch them equally.
Yeah, and like
they
stuff
have that same powerful level of bad acting and what the fuck is going on.
And also stuff like Tron, and then East 2. That's actually a good thing. I actually kind of feel like this is our floor. So somewhere between 8 or 9. I personally
finally the mythical 8.5.
I am actually kind of thinking more 8, to be honest, because I feel like there is like a lot of these have a lot of like blank space. and that I kind of feel like 8's a little bit more of a coherent spot. Unless anyone has any arguments.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I personally prefer it in 9, but like, yeah, there is still a decent case for 8.
Going once.
Yeah, I'm good.
I have
All right.
no argument.
All right. Let's put it 8 then. 8, just like the loop in the thing.
Yep.
Roller games. Also, I probably should have, filled this out beforehand. What did we just do? Oh, Moomin Valley, right. Okay, so 73. This came out in 19. I'm just going to put 1990. Producers. I'm going to fill that out later. TV. Spurt.
Producers David Sams and Michael Miller.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Oh, do I not have sports in here? Okay, what did I put for? What did I put for what did I put for American Gladiators? Oh, I do have sport. Oh, I just need it. That's right. I had the same problem when we did American Gladiators. I don't have sport, and I need to add that. So I think I have a 90s tone. I think this has because I think it's either 80s or 90s.
It's both.
More 80s, I'd say.
somehow. I'd say more 80s, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put 80s because that's what I have in here. No content that we need to
And just
call
look
out.
at the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad.
Content hair.
All right. So, is there anything we want to call out in music, charm, cinematography, storytelling, action, or an art?
So
I
for
do want to
music,
say the musical halftime shows have a campy charm to them.
rock,
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Yeah,
game.
let's put that camp there. Also, like a lot of the other themes are meant to be done by the people in the team too, which is also campy
Yeah.
and great. I also feel like camp describes the charm in
Yeah.
general.
Definitely.
Cinematography, storytelling. I kind of want to give a thumbs down to the storytelling because the storytelling's bad.
Oh god, no, it's terrible. Like there's a charm to it in that it's so bad.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of
that
campy
is-
charm, the action.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. Cinematography. I didn't really have a whole lot of problem with the cinematography. The cinematography itself. It's just unless we want to put the labels of stuff because I feel like one thing like I really wish that they did more stuff to kind of like kind of point out what's happening.
Yeah.
It's as I feel as far as cinematography is pretty much average. It's
Yeah.
like it's pretty much like exactly what you'd expect for a show, like for a show doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
It's
Also, one thing I do want to point out, I kind of want to give a thumbs up to the art because I really like the costuming in this show.
Yeah. It was fun. It was good.
Like
Overall, I'd say the show's like a drunk baby.
excuse me.
You're gonna have to walk that statement back quick here.
Let's see. Anything we want to call out for yay or nay?
Boy, this was from the XTs, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, actually yes. Yeah.
Very much of its time.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, that stupid theme stuck in my head.
Rock and roll.
Time to
games.
destroy Axe.
Now I know how you felt when we did Mega Man.
Rock and roll games.
Super Fighting
Rock,
Girl.
rock and roll games.
Okay, boyfriend.
Now you know my pain.
I almost put it. I almost highlighted the thing. Someone's got a fetish, but that's not what this show's going.
Can you imagine? Jeez.
Okay.
Can't believe that Mega Man Jokerified Axe.
Okay, boy, this is from the XDs.
If we put someone's got a fetish, then that gives a whole new definition to what happened in episode 4, was it?
Oh god. Also, I'm going to put what the hell is going on because that is
Yeah.
it is really hard to tell what's going on in this show. I wouldn't say it nobly aged poorly because I don't think that's one of the problems.
I don't think it aged poorly. It's just very much of its time.
Yeah, just going through some of these. I almost want to put too much back information needed to enjoy, but I don't think that's the case. Like it's almost there.
You
Like
can't really go that far back.
They do their best in trying to explain every last detail.
Yeah. Also, I feel like for Yay, I think we need to. I need to put a bow on it. The fact that there is campy charm. Also, I'm kind of thinking simply fun
Yeah.
because I feel like this is just kind of really goofy charm. There is like the drama is the silliest drama.
I can see that. It's just kind of turn your brain off and watch this.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. So I think we've filled this out for roller games. I don't think there's much else we can put in here. So yeah, I think that'll do it for roller games. Got it at 8. It is a good show.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, X, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, an organization by people with autism for people with autism.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so there's still my podcast going on, / radio show, Square Wave Symphony, your home for video games, chiptunes, and all things weird and geeky, which is found at lowbiasgaming.net/SquareSim and also at SquareSim on Twitter.
All right, Risen.
You can find me where you find Torpo when he streams occasionally.
All right.
Hey, Marco, I was self-serving this time. You can't.
All right, Torpo.
Twitch.tv/torpotypist and at torpotypist on Twitter.
All right. So next episode, we got something actually a little bit like I would say we've done something like this is not tangentially thing, but I feel we've reached this before. But this is something incredibly not based because we were actually doing this because it was a charity goal. So we're taking a look at the Don Bluth classic movie, The Secret of Nim. Based on Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, a book that I remember reading at some point. But yes, this is a doozy of a film. I really look forward to talking about this movie because I hold a high regard for this movie. And you can listen to us talk about it when the next episode hits. So, with that, thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
If you would like to look at the full list of rankings for yourself, please visit r3.ldp.life and go to the Media Delta List tab. If you would like to watch Media Delta's sister show, Retro Rank Rhapsody, you can either watch at youtube.ldp.life or by tuning into twitch.tv/LoadedPuzzlo at 7:30 p.m. on Fridays, 2:30 p.m. on Saturdays, and 1 p.m. on Sundays. All those times are from the Eastern U.S. time zone. If you would like to discuss this episode with the community, you can do so by joining our Discord server, which you can do so by going to discord.ldp.life. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you tune in for our next episode.